Hey, how's it going? It's Sam Frost here, and in today's video what I want to do is talk through some options that you have if you want to create video content for your business but you don't want to put your face on camera. Now, there are a whole lot of different reasons why you might not want to appear on camera like I do in these videos. You might want to keep your identity private, for personal security reasons. You might not be comfortable with the way you look. You might be very camera shy. All of those are valid reasons, and I'm never going to question anyone who doesn't want to appear on camera. What I do question, though, is businesses that don't want to invest into video creation, because it really is one of the biggest opportunities. Despite the growth of video so far, I still think there's a lot more to come. And if you're not doing video, you're leaving a lot of money on the table for your business. So if you want to create video but you don't want to appear on camera, what are your options? Because most business owners I speak to are very much aware that they need to do or they should be doing video. There's just often a lot of pushback around, I don't want to appear on camera. And as I said before, any reason you've got for that, I'm totally on board with. I'm not here to judge any reason in that regard. What I do want to do, though, is talk through some effective, affordable options you can pursue if you do want to create video content but you don't want to appear on camera. So the first option is to do screen capture video. Screen capturing has been around for a long time. My first introduction to it was using a product called Camtasia, which still exists. It's still a great product. There are loads of different options out there for screen capture. So as I said, Camtasia is one. ScreenFlow on Mac is another very good option. There's OBS Studio, which is an open source option, so it's free. It can be a little bit tricky to work with, in my opinion, compared to some of the premium options, and it doesn't have many editing tools, but it's still a good option. There are even browser-based screen recorders now, like Screencastify, which I also use. If I want to do something quickly, I'll do it with Screencastify, and it just does a really great job at capturing the browser window. You can resize the video after and add a few basic effects and all sorts of stuff like that. So if you've got any kind of business where you could possibly get away with explaining things on screen, so it might be that you have, say, a software product, and you don't really need to be on the camera, you could actually use that software product and sort of talk people through the process, or do it that kind of way. Well, there's a really good option. Even if you don't have a software product and maybe you just want to have something sort of dynamic in the background of your video, so you don't have a plain audio file with just a static background, which I'll come to in a minute, you can still use screen capture software to do this. There's a YouTube channel that I quite like watching by someone called Joseph Carlson. He talks about dividend stock investing, which maybe in the current climate is not the best thing to talk about, but his videos are produced actually to a really good standard, but he never appears on camera. He doesn't even embed a little webcam snippet of himself in the corner of the video like some people do. He basically just does, sort of moving screen capture of websites he's browsing around, different news articles he's talking about, while he discusses the effect on his stock portfolio and what he's picking and all sorts of things. So, it's not really a plug for his investing advice, because I don't know what I'm talking about in that regard, but it's certainly a plug for the way he does that YouTube channel. If you're, wanting to basically do videos, have something engaging visually, but not appear on screen, then screen capture might be a great option. You can use tools like ScreenFlow or Camtasia to actually capture PowerPoint presentations. You talk through them. I've done a couple of those on this channel where I don't even appear on screen. It's just a presentation that I'm clicking through. There's a lot of cool stuff you can do there. So that's your first option, is looking at using screen capture software. And as I said, there are free tools like OBS. There's Screencastify that has a free version, and then there's premium products like Camtasia or ScreenFlow on Mac that do a really good job, and even have some quite good video editing functionality built into them too, which is really handy. Now, your second option, if you want to create video but don't want to appear on screen, is to do basically like a static type video. So you might just record audio like a podcast file, then just load up a background image. You can, put that together in all manner of different programs, like iMovie, for example, if you're on Mac. Back in the day, I'm not much of a Windows user these days, admittedly, but I used to use Windows Movie Maker for this way back when I first got into doing digital marketing. And I'm sure there are equivalent products now that will do the same kind of thing. But basically, all you'll do is you'll record an audio file, just get a basic microphone will do the job, little lavalier clip-on microphone, or you might invest in a slightly better one, even a headset microphone, and you talk into that, you create your audio file, and then you just add an image in as a sort of background that runs constantly. It might be a link to your website or just an image that represents your product or service, and you can still upload that to YouTube, upload it to social media, all those kinds of things. Now, this is probably one of my least preferred options because it's probably the most boring for the viewer. It's basically like a podcast audio file with a static background. It's not that engaging, but there are some people who do prefer just to listen to a video. I'm actually one of those when I'm working, and I quite like having videos on in the background. There are a whole load of channels I'm subscribed to where I hardly ever watch the actual picture on the screen. It's the audio I'm interested in. So, if you think that you've got the ability to deliver that kind of content that makes great sense as audio and the video is not quite so important, well, that could actually be something that could work really well for you. An example of this, something like the Dave Ramsey Show on YouTube. So actually he does full live action video from his studio, but that's one of those things you can watch basically in the background. You don't need to be watching on screen unless you want to watch his funny facial reactions to people's financial misadventures. You can get away with just having that on in the background. You don't really need the video. So if your business is something like that, basically anything with the video piece is not quite so important, someone doesn't really need to see you, this could be a good option. In this juncture as well, I'll give a shout out to a specific tool called Repurpose.io. Now what Repurpose does, repurpose.io is the domain name. Repurpose allows you to take a podcast file, an audio file, from somewhere like SoundCloud, and then it can actually automatically convert that into a video that's got a little embedded image and one of those cool sound wave effects, and post that to your YouTube channel as well. So if you're just wanting to create audio files like you're doing, say, podcasting, and you still want to do a video version, well, that's a really good option. And I've done that on an old channel of mine, and some of those videos still get good views, so it's a great option. Now, the third option I want to discuss is the use of proper video creation tools, and I'm going to cover the spectrum here from desktop-based applications, so that could be something like iMovie or something a bit more fully featured like Adobe Premiere, Sony Vegas, those kinds of things, through to web-based tools. Basically, if you want to create something a little bit more rich in terms of content, in terms of visual flair, all those kinds of things, you want to bring in animations, make it a little bit more polished and professional, then you're probably not going to do just a plain screen capture, and you're probably not going to do the second option, which is just having an audio file with an image background or maybe a couple of different images changing. What you're probably going to want to do is pull in different clips, different images, and then maybe add some transitions, add some text over the top, all sorts of things. Make a bit more of a production about it. Now, to do that, there's a few different tools you can use. Well, actually a load of different tools you can use. As I mentioned earlier on, you could look at using a proper video editing software. So that could be something like Adobe Premiere, Sony Vegas, Final Cut on Mac, even one of the more basic things that sometimes come with your computer, like iMovie. Basically, one of those timeline editors where you can drag in different clips, you can add animations, you can overlay text, you can add in audio, all those kinds of things. Now, I don't claim to be a professional video editor. I'm lucky that I have a very talented younger brother who actually does all of the video editing for me and for my clients. But what I do know is that this can be a great option to produce some really high quality video. A lot of really good YouTube channels, for example, that have great followings that don't really have ever the narrator or the creator appearing on camera. They're actually just stitching together different clips, maybe some of their own original animation. For example, if you've ever seen a video from Mustard, who is a great channel all about different technology and travel and all those kinds of things, aviation. He does some really good videos that combine his own original animations he's created with also different clips that he's gathered online, and then has original narration. There's all sorts of different channels that do this kind of stuff as well, where there's actually very little on-screen, on-camera appearance. It's all done in editing software. And some of these productions are really high quality. I'll do a shout out here for my brother Ben as well. If you check out his YouTube channel, Garage Dreams, I'll leave a link in the video description. That's got exactly this kind of video. He's used Premiere Pro basically to create documentaries, mini documentaries about the history of interesting cars like the Honda NSX or the Toyota 2000 GT. and done it with all sorts of different clips and a bit of original animation and images and text overlays and an audio voiceover, all those kinds of things brought into one place. So that's an option you've got as well. Now that's probably going to take quite a lot more effort. There's a lot to learn. It's not a short learning curve, or a quick learning curve I should say. You're going to have to dedicate some time and effort to do this and do it well. So another option that's sort of sprung up off the back of this is fast video tools that are often cloud-based. So there are tools like Animoto, there are tools like Content Samurai, which is now called Vidnami, loads of different options that basically what they allow you to do is create these short, or they don't even have to be short, they can sometimes be quite long videos where you pull in clips from a stock image library, or you upload your own. So you'll pay your monthly subscription, you get access to a certain number of clips. You know, if you're making a video about dogs, you can search for video clips you can use royalty free about dogs. You can upload your own photos, your own stuff you've recorded on your phone camera, whatever, stitch it all together online, do a voiceover, add a few bits of text here and there and download the output, and you never get the same level of flexibility and control you'd get using Final Cut Pro or Adobe Premiere or anything like that. But what you do get is the ability to create quite engaging videos really quite easily. So I'll give you an example of a program I've used a bit. It was called Content Samurai, it's changed its name recently, but what you're able to do with that is actually load in a blog post that you've written. So take the content out of Microsoft Word or Notepad or wherever you've written it, paste it in, and it would actually go and find you clips that related basically to the content of each paragraph. As closely as its machine learning could work out for you. You could then go and tweak the layout, tweak the clips, upload your own ones, change the layout of the font and everything, and then export a finished project with a voiceover over the top. You just record the voice for each slide or each piece of video. And the finished product, not amazing, but it's certainly more than adequate, and it's a great way to get started. It's better than doing nothing. Same goes again, you could look at using animation software as well. So instead of having to use proper desktop animation software, you might use something like Powtoon, which allows you once again to create animated videos, explainer videos, whiteboard videos, all those kinds of things, and there are tons of options there as well. And I don't claim to be an expert in which one is better than others. All I'm saying is you've got these options there, and if you don't want to go through the hassle and the time and the effort of learning how to use a desktop solution with a bigger feature set, you can obviously go and use one of these online options as well. Just bear in mind that sometimes the subscription costs can be quite high. So there you have it. That's 3 ways that you can actually go and create video content without ever having to appear on camera. So to recap, the first is using screen capture. The second is creating an audio file and then just adding a simple image in the background. So it's basically just a static podcast that you can upload as a video file. And the third is using some kind of video editing software, whether it's a simple online cloud-based tool or a more complex desktop tool, or even an animation tool, both web and desktop-based, and actually creating video content that way. All 3 of them are accessible, they're doable, other people are out there doing it, and you don't have to appear on camera. So really there is no excuse for not creating video content. Now hopefully you found this video helpful. If you've got any questions, concerns, complaints, whatever, you can leave a comment, you can email me on info@samfrost.co.nz. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.